Hello everyone, this is Krita giving you a shoutcast between Empire DieStar and Mouse Morrow here on Shakuras Plateau. This is game 1 in what I believe to be a best of 5 series. I think the first game that I tried to actually cast, it was actually the last game, and some conversation in the beginning of the game quickly let me reveal that this part of the Go for SC2 Cup number 79, I believe that's what it is, and this is the final. So a shout out to them for giving me a great game. Mouse Morrow and Empire DieStar both are very well known on the European servers. We have Mouse Morrow spawning as the green Zerg on the top left hand side of the map at what I'll call a 10 o'clock position. Meanwhile, Empire DieStar spawning on the bottom right hand side of the map as the purple Terran. So Terran versus Zerg, definite cross spawns here on Shakuras Plateau, and this game should be in favor of the Zerg player because of the sheer spawning distances between these two locations. And one of the main benefits for Terran on this map though is the ability to do effective drops. The amount of open area land over here and over here makes it difficult to go Roach Hydra and trying to intercept and destroy dropships. And because of that, I believe Morrow may try to go for Mutalisks. Mutalisks are very fast, very mobile, especially on a map that has these double cliffs, making Reapers not able to jump this ledge either. We now see a drone making its way out across the map. It will scout out the bottom right hand side in just a moment, and this game will be underway. You can see that Morrow has not set up a spawning pool or an extractor yet, so it will be hatchery first. There's that hatchery now being placed down at the natural expansion with only 7 mineral patches. Meanwhile, back over here, it looks as though the drone, may be able to squeeze through. Yes, able to squeeze through before another building was placed. Now we have an upgrade to an orbital command, and DieStar pretty much doing the same build that most Terran players do 95% of the time, getting that refinery, having one barracks up and running, and he will be able to train up a Marine to try to shoo away that drone. And there's that the tech lab block, and will the Marine be able to shoot it down? I do not believe so. The drone will be able to escape with 11 hit points, and that Marine running and shooting unable to catch up to that drone as that drone just hovers away. And now we see an SCV coming in from DieStar doing some scouting of his own, notices the spawning pool, doesn't see an extractor down, so he knows that this is going to be more of a macro game. Very heavy harvesters. Some Zerglings maybe perhaps getting a couple of spine crawlers here as well, just to protect the front door from any heavy Marine and Marauder pushes. But it is not going to be very aggressive early attacking coming in from Morrow. We do have a Reaper now being trained, so this may be a fast expansion Reaper. Yes, Reaper being trained into a fast expansion command center being built on the high ground a mere 4 minutes and 20 seconds into the game, in addition to a factory. So this is a very heavy macro style of play. You can see Marines now being trained up as well. That Reaper going to try to jump up and down and perhaps get some additional kills. There's that spine crawler that I was talking about just moments ago, and by the time the Reaper gets within range, not even gonna go the distance, just gonna hang back over here, deciding to activate these Naga watchtowers. The Reaper wouldn't get that much harassment anyways, just because the Queens are there. The Queens have a decent range, a range of 3, has decent movement speed while on creep. And I expect Morrow to get some creep tumors down in just a moment, allowing even better movement across these locations. You can see the spine crawler, he was built and then unroot, and now will root in a different location, allowing him to perhaps cover this ramp a little bit easier. Back over here, we now have Morrow trying to do a suicide run with this one Overlord to figure out if there is going to be an expansion. If there is an expansion, he knows that he doesn't need to rack up on defense, but if he doesn't see that command center, then he knows that he needs to get a lot more defense, just because it's going to be coming in. And there we go, Morrow just turns around after he sees that orbital command. He shouldn't be placing any additional spine crawlers here on that front door, and he should be pretty happy in the current state where he's at. Morrow sitting on 32 drones, mining off of 17 mineral patches, compared to 25 with a mule. But down over here, you can see there are double refineries down. Taking a look at the harvester count, Morrow does have a significant economic lead at this time, but as soon as this orbital command reestablishes this location, and now that he is double mule mining, he should have a very strong economy going into the mid game. No real attacking going on just quite yet. We can see a reactor being built, maybe a starport. No starport. So this is just going to be suicide Hellions trying to get some damage in. There is not going to be a Hellion drop like I thought originally. Production-wise, you can see Hellions still being trained. The Infernal Pre-Igniter nearing completion as well. It will take another 20 seconds or so. Another Hellion should be able to pop out of there in just the right amount of time. And now 3 Hellions looking to deal some damage, going to catch some early Zerglings. The window of opportunity for these Hellions to deal damage is very, very small. You can see that those 4 Zerglings are trying to go after, and oh, just quickly getting torched there. That one poor Marine will be able to stick around, and now those Hellions are going to move out to that front door. And now you can see, ooh, Evolution Chamber blocking with a Baneling's Nest. Not going to be able to get up that ramp. Nicely done. Building with the cheapest, widest building possible, Evolution Chambers. And those Evolution Chambers will also allow him to get those level 1 Claw upgrades. Oh, going for 3 Evolution Chambers, so he may be able to get Claw upgrades, Missile upgrades, and Attack upgrades all at the same time. So Morrow definitely playing for that late game. No, deciding to cancel that last one there, realizing that he had another. And then, ooh, the drone carrying those minerals with him into a spine crawler. No real benefit there. We can see a Baneling's Nest currently coming into play as well, and now there are 4 Hellions sitting outside this front door. Overlord is in the air. It does spot out this expansion down over here. A very, very heavy economy now coming in from DieStar as well. So DieStar now sitting on a 1400 mineral economy as well. But with those Mutalisks and perhaps going to be queued up, 6 Mutalisks will be trained up very, very easily the moment that one Spire is done. There we go, 6 Mutalisks now being trained. And those Mutalisks are going to be able to get a lot of damage. Queen now laying a second creep tumor down over here, perhaps trying to spread out those creep tumors a little bit more quickly. Oh, what? Not quite sure why he canceled that. Perhaps he is trying to get a little bit more distance before it actually moves out further and further. There is one Queen still sitting here. Looking back over here, we now see a Reaper, perhaps going to try to do a little bit, trying to see if there is an expansion over here at the 12 o'clock location. Mutalisks now chasing after those Hellions. Hellions now returning home, realizing that their window of opportunity has quickly shut, and the Infernal Pre-Igniter research will pretty much be all for naught unless there are going to be a lot more Zerglings or a lot more Hydralisks being trained. Production-wise, 8 Mutalisks will soon be in the air, 6 already in play, 2 more in production. And now this all off of 4 gas, so he should be able to train up about 2 Mutalisks every minute. No, 4 Mutalisks every minute, but he is also getting some Banelings as well, so that will eat into his gas just a little bit. We can see a Thor now being trained. Obviously, with a Thor being trained, that splash damage on those Javelin missiles will help shoot down those shoot down those Mutalisks with the help of those Thors. However, Mutalisks with that magic box technique really reduces the amount of damage those Mutalisks take. And on top of that, Thors have a very, very slow attack rate. The only thing that really is going for Thor is the fact that the Thor has a very, very long range. Zerglings now controlling the center of the map. Morrow doing a great job just making sure that his opponent is unable to really push out. We have Marines down over here. Marines level 1 weapons upgrade nearing completion, and now in come those Mutalisks. There are 3 missile turrets here, so those missile turrets will make it fairly difficult for those Mutalisks to even try to come in anywhere. They could try to hug in along this backside, but the instant a Thor shows up, those Mutalisks would have to get the heck out of there, and there's only one course of action. Oh, the Thor could have gotten around. There we go, and oh, down goes some Mutalisks. Very, very nice stim micro there with the help of one Thor, taking down 3 of those Mutalisks very, very quickly. Another hatchery being established over here. We now have a Queen making its way over, and it will be able to spawn larva in just a moment. Level 2 weapons upgrade, and another command center being built, and perhaps to try to establish this expansion here at the 3 o'clock location. Hellions, and quickly just exploring the map, making sure to clean up these Onaga watchtowers. Wants to get a lot of sight and know when those units are going to be coming in. There are 2 spine crawlers, a couple Zerglings, a couple Banelings, and these spine crawlers have a base of 2 armor, so that will help reduce the amount of damage that they take from these Marines from 7 down to 5, which is a pretty significant amount. Too bad Zerg units or Zerg buildings can't can't upgrade and evolve into getting additional armor like the Terrans do. We now have siege tanks, Thor, one very, very low hit point medevac currently in play, and now still having a Zergling over here preventing the expansion from being set up. It could just hide underneath. There's also a Zergling over here, so it is 3 bases versus 2 Zerglings just swarming around back and forth, and we'll see what will be happening in just mere moments. DieStar has a smaller army, but not by very much, about 800 minerals. And he does have a decent number of counter units. We do see a lot of banelings though. So with those banelings, 10 banelings could easily melt this marine army. And as soon as those marines get taken down, the Mutalisks may be able to have their way with that one Thor and then the rest of the marauders and siege tanks on the ground. So it will be critical to see what DieStar can do. Siege tanks do have siege tech, but they are not sieging up yet. Just 4 siege tanks sitting here. One Zergling is currently hiding underneath the ground, and now it has been taken down as what 3 additional missile turrets are being placed down here. Siege tanks now going to regroup with the rest of this army production-wise. Marauders, siege tanks, marines, and missile turrets are being laid down, and we now are going to have 3 bases versus 4 bases in just a moment as Morrow attempts to establish up a new base once again. Hellions on the move, looking to kill more Zerglings, able to kill a lot of those Zerglings once again, and that has all just been for just to deny any of those Onaga Watchtowers. Siege tanks now venturing out a little bit too far forward will be able to start blasting away at those spine crawlers. The spine crawlers could uproot and then make their way somewhere else. It looks like they're just going to be punching bags for those siege tanks, quickly getting taken down. Down they go, and now the siege tank army should be able to push forward once again. Medevac, siege tanks, 1 Thor, and the siege tanks are currently upgraded 1-0, and that is it. More siege tanks trying to step forward very slowly. We can see Marines back over here, army-wise, 4,000 versus 4,300, but there are going to be a decent number of banelings. Those banelings do have upgraded armor and upgraded damage, and in come the Zerglings. Zerglings now trying to swarm in. Will they be able to get any damage on top of any of those units is going to be the key question. Banelings just rolling through and able to push through into the Marine line, and down it goes. So many of those units have been taken down. The Mutalisks are just going to have their way with the rest of this Terran army. And that was pretty much textbook execution by Morrow. Really, really well done, making sure to have those Zerglings absorb the damage from those siege tanks first, so that those banelings could get within combat range. On top of that, the fact that DieStar never cleared out any of these creep tumors, and only with scanner sweeps and not with a Raven, allowed those Zerglings and those banelings to roll on in much more quickly and just neutralizing the effect of the stim pack, the fast-moving Marines. SCVs now being transferred over here. DieStar needs to rebuild his army. As you can see, Morrow has a significant lead in terms of the army, and as soon as Morrow gets up to 200 food, I believe he'll start trying to exchange blow for blow against the Terran army. Zerglings are upgraded 2-2 along with those banelings as they share upgrades. And with the way this game is going, more Mutalisks are still being added, and we are going into hive tech. I hope to see... Wow, that is a lot of banelings in production. I hope to see Broodlords. Broodlords would be very, very strong, especially since you have level 2 air upgrades and you have 2-2 ground upgrades for those Broodlings. Drones now being transferred across. Morrow just doing a great job now running off of essentially 5 bases and transferring drones over here to the 12 o'clock location. Marines now making their way off to the north side will be able to clear out this expansion for this command center, which is nearly completed. And is DieStar now on the move? DieStar now trying to do a drop over here, but it will quickly get cleaned up by mass Mutalisks. Those Mutalisks are now hunting for that medevac. That medevac will get shot down very easily. Mutalisks moving much more quickly than those medevacs. And Morrow having almost one full control group of Mutalisks in the air, and now we see the Greater Spire currently being researched. Also adrenal glands, so we are going to see Mutaling and very, very fast attacking Zerglings. Spine crawlers are now down in this position. Many of those Marines are now trying to come in. Are those banelings going to be able to make its way over is going to be the key question. Mutalisks are going to try to fly in, and now there are some spine crawlers already. Zerglings now trying to pour in as well. Mutalisks in the air, and now 3 Thors may be able to eat up many of those Mutalisks. Marines now coming in from behind as well. A lot of damage, but in come the banelings, and the banelings are going to start melting away at those siege tanks and those Marines once again. However, those Mutalisks are not magic boxing, and that's going to be a problem as the Thor now able to get some splash damage, but those Mutalisks finally have decent spread. and the armies have pretty much been traded. But in a trading army situation like this, I believe Morrow still has the lead. 92 drones compared to 75, much higher production. He's running off of 6 hatcheries, not that much larva right now, but he should be able to get a lot of larva in just a moment and be able to just ramp up his production once again. Greater Spire nearing completion, adrenal glands, more drones still being trained, and now level 3 weapons and attack upgrades for those claws. Oh, Baneling landmines, 2 on the ramp. Let's see if Morrow is able to use them effectively. And yes, taking down many of those Marines before they even saw the light of day and even were able to move out here. We may get also another fungal growth. Yes, a nice fungal growth, stopping many of those Marines in their tracks. The more damage will be dealt once again. There are Mutalisks in the air here. Zerglings now going to try to swarm in once again. Zerglings already quickly turning around and now just stomping on those siege tanks. Zerglings with the adrenal gland upgrades moving so quickly. Mutalisks now going after those Marines, and now an infestor inside the base of DieStar. DieStar unable to really establish this expansion here. One lone infested Terran will be able to spawn out, joining in on that fight there, trying to take down this command center here. More siege tanks and more Marines will be making their way up and now getting more damage. It looks like those Mutalisks will be forced to retreat as this command center will be able to reestablish itself, perhaps become a planetary fortress. One infested Terran now slowly making its way back. The life on an infested Terran is the time spent on an infested Terran is very light. Siege tanks now in siege mode, gonna start blasting away. Many of those banelings do not want to engage. Those siege tanks in siege mode can detonate them, essentially detonate them remotely. We now see more spine crawlers coming in here, and I don't see anything else. I don't see any excuse me. I don't see any corruptors, so it doesn't look like there's going to be any broodlords right now. Just a lot of spine crawlers, siege tanks, and Thors trying to push out once again. Both players just battling it out. We finally have a couple corruptors in the air. There's those broodlords. So 4 broodlords now in the air, and those broodlords are going to start launching those broodlings very effectively. And those broodlings are just going to deal a lot of damage, especially as they are almost fully upgraded. Those broodlings now coming in, and now Zerglings now coming in as well. So just going to be able to stomp on this. Marines were trying to get within combat range, but Zerglings quickly came in and swarmed back in once again. Corruptors in the air now focusing down many of those medevacs. Banelings rolling in, and while DieStar is in trouble, there is a planetary fortress here, but those Banelings, getting all splattered before they even got within combat distance. Marines now trying to come back in once again. I do not believe they will be able to deal enough damage, but the Broodlords try to live and fight another day. 2 more Broodlords once again being morphed into play. Not exactly sure where that is. Back over here. So 2 more Broodlords launching those Broodlings. Broodlords are upgraded 2-1. Broodlings are upgraded 3-3. So those Broodlings are just brutal in this particular game so far. Another base, more gas just being mined. Morrow knowing that Broodlords take a large amount of gas and now trying to get more and more gas. We can see army-wise, 196 over 200 compared to 128 food count, and a 6,000 mineral army versus 2,500. Things are not looking good. In comes Marines and siege tanks once again trying to push in. Nothing that these Broodlords can't take care of very easily. Zerglings are on the ground as well to make sure that they intercept many of those Zerglings. And many of those Marines, and now in come those Broodlords launching those Broodlings, just poking away at the rest of those Zerglings, and those Broodlords are just poking, and getting so much damage dealt. Siege tanks are upgraded 2-0. Broodlords quickly going to take down that missile turret there, and now perhaps try to finish off this planetary fortress. Going to finish off this missile turret once again. SCV is trying to come in, and now those Marines may be able to stim in, but there are just a lot of Zerglings swarming in over here. There are now, Banelings and Infestors also swarming down over here, so it's going to be a 2-prong attack. Both sides, the planetary fortress will fall in just a moment, and there's the GG coming in from DieStar. So DieStar losing to Mouse Morrow here on Shakuras Plateau. Morrow doing a great job just expanding and getting into the late game. Ultimately getting those Broodlords, making sure that those Corruptors weren't useless, and also getting fully upgraded Broodlings and Zerglings. Those Broodlings were dealing 7 damage per attack. They attack faster than a Marine, almost as fast as a Marine on stim, and essentially those Broodlings are free, as those Broodlords are able to launch them pretty consistently as well. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this 1v1 replay between Mouse Morrow and DieStar here on Shakuras Plateau.